Good morning, happy Saturday. Welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry I went on a hiatus, but I'm working on other projects, and so I'm dedicated to keeping this channel going. I think it's important. I've also been told that it's important to keep these messages going. I have so many people who are watching them, who are listening, and feel like it's been extremely helpful to them. So I would love to continue these messages and hoping that these spiritual downloads will continue in addition to my book learnings as a therapist. So the topic that I have today is couples. This is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time now, as I do individual therapy, but I also do a lot of couples therapy, and so many different things to work out in couples. This topic is also important because I feel like there are so many couples out there who have so much love for each other, but sometimes you just get lost in so many different ways, and I'll discuss that. Oftentimes when you meet someone and you get with them, there's so many different things that we don't look for or we don't figure out prior to moving forward. Oftentimes when you are meeting someone, you're also coming in with your own individual traumas and morals and values and beliefs and stuff that don't always align with each other, right? So that is a struggle that a lot of couples have because everyone's background is different, and so the way that you do things, sometimes your perspective will not be the same. They will shift. They will not, be congruent with your partner, and so sometimes that causes problems. The way that you respond to each other, the way that you see things, sometimes affect the relationship because I find that with a lot of couples, there's a lot of selfishness that come in relationships, and I say this frequently, and a lot of my couples laugh when I say it, but relationships and marriage is very inconvenient, and it's very inconvenient because it's a lot of doing things that you don't want to do for the love of your partner, and so it's really, really important to understand and put your needs sometimes on the sideline for someone else. When you decide to take vows or you decide to move into a relationship with someone, those things are important, and those things are necessary to maintain and sustain a healthy relationship. I think also times people love from the standpoint and the way that they feel love should be, and that doesn't always align with what your partner needs. So times I see couples say, well, I give this person X, Y, and Z, but the spouse will say, but that's not what I'm asking for. What I need from you is A, B, and C, not X, Y, and Z. And so that's a form of selfishness, right? You can't love someone from the level that you want to love them. Sustaining and maintaining a healthy relationship really, really involves doing everything in your power to understand your partner, to read the room as it relates to your partner, to not create barriers when it comes to communication. Having honest talks is super important in a relationship, and though it's uncomfortable, it's necessary, because when you have uncomfortable topics and conversations, it avoids isolation, resentment, regret, and all of those ugly feelings and emotions that eventually come into play and create distance in the relationship. Another really, really big one is accountability. If you are in a relationship and you don't take accountability, you are not ready to be in a relationship. Accountability in and of itself is necessary for growth. Whether you're an individual, whether you're in a couple, whether you're married, no matter what. If you're in a relationship with someone who never wants to take accountability, that's a major red flag, and that's something to look at, and that's something to talk about in terms of maybe going to get help, going to seek couples therapy, maybe going within, doing some healing. There's a lot of things that need to take place if you are not ready to take accountability. When you're in a relationship and there's one person who refuses to take accountability, it's almost impossible to move forward positively. I have to stress that because you can always move forward. But it's important to understand that if you want to move forward positively and if you want to maintain a healthy relationship and you want cohesion in your relationship, then it's important, it's almost impossible to do that when one person is not willing to say, these are some of the things that I could work on, and these are some of the things that I will be committed to work on. What I find in relationships is that it is definitely a mutual thing. Two people have to show up. Two people have to want to do the work. If one person checks out, then it's almost impossible to move forward in a happy space. Another part of understanding your relationship is acceptance. So there's going to be areas in your relationship where that person is just not going to change certain things, right? This person came out of the womb with this character, right? You often see kids that are babies and they do things that you wouldn't normally think a child would do, right? That's who they are, that's their spirit, right? That's who they are. And there are some things that don't change, right? But there are some things that are, that can be changed. The things that can't be changed, the things that you have to accept from your partner, which everyone has to, right? You can't change everything about someone. And if you go into a relationship seeing things about the person that doesn't align with you, but your mentality or your mindset is oh, well, these things will change, that's not a good idea. Never, ever, ever a good idea. Pay attention to the things that irritate you. Pay attention to the things that irritate your nervous system. Pay attention to things that create anxiety in you. Those are never, ever good things, right? So it's important to recognize that and find acceptance in your relationship, right? Because it is an effort. If you find comfort in knowing that there's certain things in your relationship that you need to accept, then you need to eradicate those areas of constantly thinking about it, constantly being annoyed with it. It's not going to serve you. Release the things you can't control in your relationship and focus on finding your internal things that make you happy. Find outlets in your relationship or outside of your relationship, I should say, that make you happy. You do not have to be tied to your spouse. It's not healthy to be tied to your spouse. If you feel like you have no one else but your spouse, that's something to look at. That's going within. That's part of your healing. And that's something that you need to really, really pay attention to. It is super healthy to have separate things going on in your marriage or in your relationship. It is important to maintain your friendships and your social settings. Obviously, if you're with someone who doesn't want you to do that and wants to create chaos or create situations to destroy your relationships, that's toxic as hell. And that's definitely not something that you should entertain anyway, right? But it's just definitely accepting things from the person, accepting these character traits, and understanding that you cannot change everything about someone, and they will not change everything about them, as well as yourself. And so finding healthy, happy outlets for you is super important in maintaining your healthy relationship. In order to have a healthy relationship, relying on that person for every single thing is a no, 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 no. You should not do that. You should have your own thing going on. You should have your own strength. You should have your own courage. You should have your own outlets. You should have friends. You should do things with your friends. You should have your own fulfillment and your own purpose. That's very important. And I find that people who have those things are happier in their space. And when you're happier within, it's easier to be happier with someone else. Someone cannot make you happy. Your spouse is not responsible for your happiness. A lot of people need to hear that. A lot of people don't understand that. You are responsible for your happiness. Your husband or wife is not responsible for making you happy. They are responsible for adding to your happiness, and they are absolutely responsible if they are taking away or creating pain in your life. Okay, so that's important to understand. They're two different things. When you are happy as an individual and within, then you can be happy with someone else. Okay, when you're in your marriage, when you're in your relationship, pay attention to what your spouse needs and put your feelings aside sometimes for your person. Practice not saying but. Practice having a conversation and not interrupting your spouse. Practice removing any of your feelings and really listen to what your partner is saying. Big thing before I end this channel, before I end this specific topic. Ego is huge in relationships. Ego can be the death of a relationship. It can be the demise of a relationship on both ends. I see women have ego, men, we all have egos. And so sometimes you have to remove your ego for the love of your relationship. Go back to times that you met. Go back to the feeling that you had when you met that person. Find, games on like Amazon that arises those feelings again, that creates a robust, happy space where you used to be in. It's so much easier to have conversations and communicate about conflict when you add things that do make you feel good. Avoid conversations to make the other spouse feel like it's them. Try to start the conversations that are awkward by saying, I love you. I think that, we have so many good things going for us. I feel like this relationship is amazing. I feel like there are certain things that we need to work on for each other. When you approach a conversation that is going to be conflict driven, and you start off the conversation with, this is what I don't like about you, this is what you do, this is what, the other person is going to automatically shut down. You're not going to get anything from them. They're going to check out, and that's going to be the end of that conversation. You should never start a conversation like that. You should take a deep breath and start a conversation with an open mind, both parties. with an open mind and a clear headspace, so that you can hear what they're saying. You can hear what they're saying. If it helps, write a list of the things that you need and the things that I need, and what our needs that are not getting met. Start there. Take a deep breath. Take accountability. Remove your ego. And remember why you fell in love in the first place. I hope this helps. Please follow my podcast. It's called Manifesting Your Wings of Worth. I will put it in my link and my YouTube link. And I hope that you have an amazing day.